Hi folks, what you're looking at is the forestock of a British Martini Henry. I want you to notice that pinhole and its condition. You'll see the same thing on the other side. Under recoil, that pin pushes back against the forestock. Okay, turn it around so you can see that more rationally. You can see the hole that it's chewing in the wood. Here's a Martini Henry action with the wood removed. Notice that square lug dangling down. That's the barrel lug. When the gun recoils, that pushes back against the wood. Here's the remnants of an original Martini Henry forestock. We see the result of 140 years of the metal pin jamming back against the wood after each shot. Eventually the wood just splits right off. This is partially because these side rails here at the top are only 8 caliber thick. Another issue is in the bottom of the wood foregrip. The makers of it merely cut a square slot going all the way back, which offers no resistance to the lug when the barrel recoils against the stock. Rather, instead, because of the square slit, the barrel would otherwise be free to move completely back, except for the presence of that 13/64 inch diameter pin. So let me turn this wood over for you so you get a better view of the pinhole. There you can see where the pinhole was. The result, with time, first the hole will get larger and wallow out as in the other example I showed you, and then eventually the wood will just simply split along the grain line. Hi, we have two different projects going on here in the shop at the same time, more or less. Project number one, this is an original stock for a Martini Henry carbine, which is the carbine action down here. The action is good, but the problem, of course, is after storage in what can best be described as very poor conditions, the wood of the carbine forend totally rotted out. However, I have alongside a new stock forearm for a Martini Henry rifle action. The difference is that the rifle action was longer and it's cut a little differently, a little shorter, as you can see in the forend as far as the grip. Also, the rifle action has a metal nose cap, which I've got to fit to the Martini Henry carbine forend, or what will be a carbine forend. The top of the groove is oversized, that is to say it's built up on the replacement one. It's got to be cut down. The amount it has to be cut down will be determined by removing the forend and placing it against the new stock, then making a tracing that will determine the depth of the groove to be cut on the mill. I've got a curved rasp bit here that I'll be using on the mill. And project number two, today I'm happy to report that a power feed for the Sieg X2 mini mill here has arrived. So project two will be fitting the power feed to the mill prior to making cuts on the new stock. Okay, moving a little further along, I have removed the metal end cap from the old rifle stock. As you can see, the bottom has to stay inviolate because that's where the ramrod goes. It's the top part that has to be deepened. So on the new stock, when I place this against it as a template, this is the amount of wood that needs to be removed from the groove. Again, the bottom cannot be touched, but the top can. And I will now go ahead and start that procedure on the mill. Okay, I now have a perfect groove, smooth on both sides, left and right. Now the question is, let's see if my measurement works and does the rifle fit. I am pleased to report that the replacement stock does fit. I'm going to trim that down to take the nose cap next. What I'm going to try to do is I've changed the design a bit. Back here, I did not extend the groove for the barrel recoil lug all the way back. Instead, using a Foster bit, I cut it a little bit deep, and it is my intent to beef up the barrel lug by welding a little extra piece of metal on it, and then glass bed it using Bronwell's Acra glass. What I'm hoping is that the Acra glass, just as it does on African sporting rifles, will prove to be strong enough to hold the recoil lug, which means I won't have to drill a pin through here, thereby weakening the stock. It's a hope, it's an experiment, and we'll see how it progresses. For right now, the rear metal is being clamped in place with a magnet. A weld will soon permanently affix that to the rear of the barrel lug, but you can begin to see what I've got in mind. I've widened the hole with the Foster bit. Basically, we're going to be looking at a T-shaped barrel lug. More to come. Okay, I've welded a small flat to the rear of the barrel lug. You'll notice I've left a hole as is. My thought is that should this not be sufficient to keep the forearm attached to the stock after glass bedding it, or attached to the barrel after glass bedding it, then the next step, of course, will be to drill through the stock as the British used to do and take advantage of the hole, but I hope not to need to do that. Moving on. This is the carbine in my replacement stock. Notice because of the plate I put behind the barrel lug, it is not necessary to drive a pinhole through it. I've test fired it 4 or 5 shots with no barrel bands attached, 0 back or forth movement. And I still got to drill the hole here for the bayonet lug, but that's a minor point. I'm going to stain the wood to better match the rear stock, but as you can see, I'm pretty close to the original configuration. And so, just thought I'd share.